Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and we're gonna check out some knives I brought back from Bladeshow. Now, this isn't all of them. I just grabbed some randomly to show you guys, so they're in no particular order of how much I like them or anything like that, and I'll show the rest off on another video. But this is one of the new VOSTEEDs. Now, I forget the name of it. I don't know the steel of it. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's really cool what they did. So I've been telling people in companies that the compression locks patent is up from Spyderco, so anybody can use it. And that's basically what it looks like they did. So this is basically a compression lock with a button attached to it, like the SMOKEY. So that is awesome. So compression locks are very strong, they're very fidgety, and you know, they executed it pretty well. Now the blade is a Wharncliffe blade, and it does have a dual grind. I'm not a big fan of the dual grind part. It does look cool, and in all reality, it's not gonna hinder you in any way, but I could do without it. It doesn't really matter. But like I said, it's not gonna hurt anything. Very fidgety with the whole deployment and flipper tab. Now, the flipper tab is very minimal, very small flipper tab. So you'd think that it might not work the best, but it actually works really good. So it snaps out there with authority. They tune the detent really nicely. Very ergonomic. Titanium milled pocket clip and backspacer. It does have some milling on the inside to bring down the weight. And yeah, this one's pretty awesome. So let's check out the next one, because the next one is another VOSTEED knife, one that's already been out, but now a different version. The VOSTEED Gator. Now this one, instead of being a liner lock, it has a very robust titanium frame lock with this frag pattern. Super thick scales, and for a big robust knife like the Gator is, that's awesome because it's very ergonomic. It's almost like you're holding onto a fixed blade. Now the one thing is though, is that while the other one's gonna be more affordable with the liner lock, this one it's still going to be reasonably priced because the blade steel is 14C28N. And I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do on all of them or if this is just a prototype, but they did it really well. And I love 14C, so I have no problem with 14C and titanium. Like I said, very ergonomic, so you're going to be able to bear down on this. The blade shape is going to be very, very functional, super snappy, and really good fidget factor, because there's so many forms of deployment. You got the front flipper, the regular flipper, the whole deployment, super good. And it does have a titanium mill pocket clip. I kind of wish they would have put the cutout for the lock bar on the inside. So, you know, because of the frag pattern, it would have made it a little bit smoother, but I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not sure if that's going to hinder anything. Next is a really wicked cool custom from edgybladeworks. I gotta say, I like it quite a bit. I know the blade shape is pretty wicked looking, but that's what I think is so cool. This tip right here, the secondary tip, is very pronounced, so it's gonna dig into things really good. And you know, this front end here, you know, you can kind of do work with, you know, however you want. The primary tip's not gonna be the most useful, but you can do it. Titanium liners, super smooth, very, very good detent and action. It is very fun to fidget with. And the handle is extremely, extremely ergonomic. I think this is paper micarta. He does have other versions, you know, and other handle materials. Then you have a titanium milled pocket clip and backspacer. So really, really awesome. I forget the blade steel. I think, okay, I'm not 100%, but I believe it's Magna Cut. That's what I think it is. Now, I'm not sure if this is where he was going with it, but the blade shape kind of looks like a rhino penis. And what's funny is his logo on Instagram is a rhino riding the back of another rhino, if you know what I mean. So I think that's hilarious. I love it. I think it's super unique, very, very well done. And that's one thing I got to give him credit to, is that it has a production feel to it. So for a custom knife to feel, you know, as well done as production knives are, that's a huge statement, because a lot of customs are rough around the edges. I love that pivot, it looks really good, but it just, you know, it makes it to where some customs feel rough around the edge, and you can kind of just tell, like, yeah, this is a custom because it's not as well done as some other production knives. Now, obviously, custom makers that make knives at a high level, like this one, you know, it gives you a different feeling, and it really stands out, you know, as a custom because it does feel so good. The tolerances are really good. You know, all the little details are there to make it feel refined. Next one is my Spyderco Yojimbo. I'm dropping stuff over here. My Spyderco Yojimbo. So I already had the Yojimbo, so I needed to buy the Yojimbo because the mini version or the micro version's coming soon. So now I'll have all three. I've always wanted to have the regular one because it is my most recommended Yojimbo is the regular one, even more than the Yojimbo, just because this is more sizable for EDC. Great utility blade. Obviously this, well, maybe not obvious, but these were originally designed for self-defense, especially the fixed blade version, but being a folding knife version, one, it's a good self-defense knife, but it's also a fantastic EDC knife. Super deep hollow grind, very slicey, S30V, made in the USA. I think the Yojimbo is awesome. Next is a knife from Reich The Body, and it is a titanium knife. I recently showed this on a video from the show. I can front flip it technically. I don't think it was intended for that, but I can do it easily. This back spacer comes off, and it's actually a tool. It's actually a tool to take the knife apart, which is pretty cool how it's just, you know, connected to the knife. And so you can, you know, take apart your knife anytime you want. Titanium scales, M390 steel, sheep's foot blade, good access to the lock bar, fantastic reverse flicker, and you can reverse flick it left-handed because it is a liner lock. Titanium mill pocket clip, and the back spring, I do believe the tool and back spring is titanium too. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to check it with a magnet. But it's one I think is really cool, and it does come in different versions. This one's just the, I think it's marble carbon fiber. It might be fat carbon, but it looks cool. Now we have another one from Keto USA, which Keto and Reich are, I think, under the same umbrella. So just, you know when I'm speaking about Keto, you know, Reich is kind of right there with them. So I forget the name of this. I think it's called, you know what, actually it's right here. It's called the Griffin, the Quito Griffin. And the Quito Griffin is a button lock. And it looks like a traditional button lock. Very fidgety. Holy cow, this thing's fidgety. A lot of the knives we pulled out today are fidgety. It's got a very pronounced front flipper that you can use in basically any fashion as far as front flippers go. And it has the reverse flick and thumb flick, and then you have a flipper tab. Titanium scales, it does have a carbon fiber inlay on both sides, which I do like to see. Tons of milling on the inside. And its blade steel is, I don't know. I'm guessing it's M390. But I think the blade looks really wicked. A harpoon drop point blade with this sick, nasty finger choil. It's squared off, but it actually is very comfortable, and it does make for good sharpening. So you have all of this life all the way up and all the way back to sharpen up before you ever hit the plunge grind. Granted, you're never gonna make it to there, but at least you have a lot of life right there. And the handle is extremely, extremely ergonomic. It's one that you feel like you could jab down into something and score really good cuts. The button is recessed slightly, but it's still pretty easy to get to. And yeah, they did a great job on this one. And you know what? One more from Keto USA. This one is the BSD. I think it is the Kamasu. Sorry, the Kamasu. So the Keto, I think that's how you pronounce it, Kamasu. Very fidgety. Again, you know, that's one thing they do really well is action. And it is a titanium frame lock with a bolster show side. So not both sides, just one side. The blade steel, I believe, is M390. Yes, it is. It's M390. Super duper smooth. Fantastic flipping action. Very comfortable disengagement. You have the whole deployment for the reverse flick that works pretty good. Lefties is not going to be as good, you know, because you will lock yourself out. Titanium mill pocket clip and a back spacer. Super snappy. Beautiful sheep's foot. It's going to cut really good, especially with these ergos, as comfortable as they are. You can bear down really, really good with this one. But here is the knife designer of the Kamasu. You can check them out right there. Let's check out some more knives. So we got this one called the Chicago. I actually haven't even opened it yet, so let's open it up right now. So this one's from Crispy Donut Community, and it's called the Chicago, so I had to get it. Those of you that know, I am in the Chicago area, and it is a titanium frame lock, S35VN spear point with a dual ground blade, so you have a hollow here, flat grind up here. It's gonna make it a little bit more stout up at the tip, but nice and slicey down here. Fantastic ergos, nice and comfortable in the hand. Good access to the lock bar, you know I love that. Very smooth on the drop, and then you have multiple forms of deployment. The flipper tab is nice and comfortable, and I like the size of it, so it makes it to where this blade rockets out. I love that. Super duper snappy, and then you also have the thumb studs that you can reverse flick or thumb flick. Sharp control and plunge grind is the one area that I think could use some help. I'm not a big fan of that. The plunge grind does get really close to the edge, if not hit the edge. Yeah, it hits it. So you see it starts here and it ends right at the edge. I'd rather see the end of the plunge grind and moved way back. So you have plenty of life to sharpen off without hitting the plunge grind. It does have some jimping on the spine that is pretty sharp, but it does work. So this one does have an early bird price where you can go on their site and order it, and the password is EARLYBIRD in all caps, and you get $15 off the retail, so it'll be $135 for the early bird or $150 for retail after they drop. So you can check them out and see if you want to possibly get in on this for a more affordable price. If you're already going to get it anyways, you might as well, right? So it is very, very well done, and they do have a couple little tiny changes, like this is going to be chamfered down so it's not so sharp, which is not that bad anyways, but you know, anything they do is just going to improve it from here, and it's already extremely, extremely well done, so even if it was just like this. But let's check out the next one. Now remember guys, this is only first impressions on all this stuff. This is not a review. I did pick up another ProTech PT. The last one I got was gifted to us by Stasa23. Shout out to Stasa23. And we had it for a long time and then wound up regrinding it, then getting a new blade for it. So it was like basically brand new, and then we gave it away to one of the patron members. Now I have a brand new one in Magna Cut steel. They're heat treating their Magna Cut 63 to 64. I'm very, very happy about that. I love the PT. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of automatic knives, but man, ProTechs, they got some pop to them that it's very addicting. They're very snappy, and I personally love the look of Striders. I love the thought behind Striders. Man, I wish they would do a manual one, but as far as I know, they can't. But because they would, they would have to have, the authority to do it from Strider. But anyways, I love the look and the thought behind Striders, but I'm not a big fan of their fit and finish and some of the issues that they come with. Even though I know some of them are really good, but man, I would, I do like them quite a bit. So I had to get one of these, and the ProTech ones are done extremely, extremely well. So had to pick one up, especially in Magna Cut at 63 to 64 HRC. Now the next knife I got is the Spyderco MATRIARCH. Why did I get the Spyderco MATRIARCH in VG10? Well, I have a video coming soon that it is specifically for, and that is why I got it. And I got the version with the wave because I figure, if you're gonna have this knife, which is only purpose is self-defense, and you obviously wanna have the wave feature so you can rip it out of your pocket, already have it deployed, and this thing will get to work. And boy, oh boy, will it do the business. So very snappy. This thing is actually so much smoother than you'd ever imagine from a backlock. Like, I'm surprised how smooth this thing is. So FRN scales, like I said, VG10 steel, and yeah, look forward to the video on that one. Now the next one I got, Spyderco Wise. is the little Dragonfly. I've always wanted a Dragonfly. I know it's not really my style because they're super small, compact, very, very lightweight. But I got to check one out a while back and I just fell in love with it. You know, they're so useful, man. Get one of these in hand and you'll realize it. Not only is it just mega lightweight, but you have, this one's in K390 by the way, you have a blade steel that is probably my favorite blade steel, and they do such a good job with the heat treat that you actually get to experience a real super steel from, you know, their K390. And this little Wharncliffe blade is so useful, you know, and it just works. It's such a good knife. Like most people could get by with this knife right here, nothing else. And that's what I love about it because it's compact, small, but damn it, is it a beast. It would compete with some large knives. But I'm hoping to find some scales for it because I would love to replace the FRN scales with something else, titanium or something else, micarta maybe, I don't know. But anything else because I'm not a fan of FRN, but I'm a big fan of the Spyderco Dragonfly. I'll try to link as much as I can down in the description for you guys. But anyways, that's all for this video. I will show off some more at a later time. This is just some of the stuff I brought back with me. Until next time, peace.